I will start with my background. I'm coming from Serbia, and we are the civil law country. So rights of the contractor are protected even by the law on the contracts and torts. What is specific in Serbia is the fact that apart from the general civil law instruments of hardship, and other related instruments, there is one specific part of the contract which is precisely dealing with the change circumstances which may come as a hardship on the side of the contractor. So, in general, I will try to explain it as simple as possible. But in the law on contracts and torts, we have a specific article which is stating that if the parties did not agree on any type of adjustments of the costs, the contractor is anyhow entitled to the changes of the costs if the changes of the elements which are forming his price change in such manner that they will lead to the change of more than 2% of the contract price. And the contractor shall be entitled to that difference between the changes, between the actual change and the 2%. That actually means that every contractor is held, let's say, responsible or taking a risk for the change of the price up to the 2%. So that is the risk that he is taking if it's above the 2%. And if the contract does not say otherwise, that there is some adjustments for changes formula, then contractor, subject to proof, will be entitled to additional money. What is even more interesting, this is the dispositive article, dispositive norm of the law. There is even, let's say, more protective mechanism, and that is if the contract is stated to be the contract with a fixed price, so that the prices will not be changed. Even in that case, if the price of the elements which form the overall price are more lead to the changes of more than 10%, the contractor will be entitled to that difference. That means that he's taking the risk of the change of the price up to the 2%, even if the contract is named as a contract with a fixed price. So that is protection by the law. Why I'm saying this? Because in the past 25 years, more than 20 years, market in Serbia was very stable with some low inflation, and in most of the contracts, nobody bothered even to introduce any type of formula for the adjustments of the price, because the contractors were aware of that low inflation rates. They were calculating that into their prices, and the contract was not dealing with any adjustment of the price. What happened? First happened COVID in 2020. Then there was a, let's say, energy crisis, smaller one at the end of 2021, which finalized with the Russia and Ukraine war in 2022. That led to significant disruption in the market for the materials and for the plants. And most of the contracts which were concluded beforehand did not have any type of adjustment mechanism. So from 2022, there was a number of new contracts which all included some kind of formula. But the contractors which had the contracts which were concluded before that, they had to invoke this entitlement directly from the contract. And the difference is, if you have a formula in your contract, you don't have to prove anything. You are reading what is given in the relevant statistical data, you are applying that, and you are getting that money. Why I'm saying this? Because all of these formulas, they are based on some statistical data from the relevant statistical institutions, whether they are local or they are international. The problem, particularly in the Southeast Europe, in the region of Balkans, is that our statistical institutions do not cover, first of all, they do not cover all the elements of the price which are changing, because we are simply not producing all kind of equipment or all kind of materials. And the second problem is inertia within the statistical data. These all formulas, they have been very good for application where you have a, how shall I put it, stable inflation. If that is not the case, if you have a sudden disruption in the supply chains, or you have a disruption in the prices where the prices dramatically going up and then changing up to the available supply, these are all not the changes that are currently and accurately reflected in those coefficients. So I'm all of this giving as a small introduction because at that time, 2022, I was working on one World Bank project in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and we have been working on the number of more than 20 contracts which were related to the water supply and sanitation, projects. And all of the sudden, all of the contractors faced the same problems. You had a sudden raise, let's say, for the steel, for the reinforcement, for the plastic, even from COVID, with the disrupted supply chains of the plastic material from China. So they all have been facing a very big impact on their finances, very big impact on their calculated prices. And we have been searching for a solution. So it was without doubt, because all of the countries of the former Yugoslavia share this same background with the law on contracts and torts. So there was no doubt that the contractors were entitled to something. It was a question how to calculate what is the entitlement, what is the quantum. So if I may say, the merits of the claims were not questionable at all, but the quantum was very questionable. How to prove what is the real impact that you had on your project, and or the contractor is having the real impact on his finances. So I can tell you about the two examples. Both are from 2022. In one case, the contractor was insisting on application of formula. So we use the standard general FIDIC formula. You have some fixed coefficients, and then you have a different parameters related to the labor, related to the materials, and related to the energy. After the calculation in the relevant period, the assessment was that the increase of the overall price was somewhere in the range of 13 to 15%. So this is what actual statistical data provided in application of the formula. What was the benefit of that approach was that the proof that had to be submitted by the contractor was only related to the coefficients of the participation. So what is the percentage that can be allocated to labor, what is the percentage to be allocated for the materials, and so on. And then you apply statistical data and you comes up with some percentage, as I said, somewhere in the range of 13 to 15%. The other contractor took completely different approach, so he entered into he actually accepted the burden of proof, and to prove how much is the real impact that he is having. This is a very specific contract related to the plants, where most of the equipment is actually imported from the Western Europe mainly, but also from a Far East. And the contractor decided to apply open book method. So he really opened up his entire accounting department, and he provided the evidences how much costs each and every one piece of the equipment. So what was the offer that he was given by the suppliers in 2021? And what is the actual invoices that he paid for those equipment? And the result was dramatically different, because he managed to prove the impact of more than 30%. So the increase of the price had to be 30+% of the contract accepted amount. And this is, I choose, because we don't have too much time, I choose not to speak too much about the formula itself, because formula is rather self-explanatory. The other approach, which is very frequently also used lately, is the monomaterial formula. So the employers, instead of applying a formula for everything, they are decided to apply on a specific part of the materials or the equipment. Let's say for the electric cables, they are taking into consideration only change of the price of the copper in the London exchange market. So they are only applying what was the price of the copper at the base date, what is the price of the copper in the date when the contractor is submitting his statement for the interim payment. I tried, and I will I'm now finishing. I tried to explain that for contractors particularly, it is regardless of the fact that they have to open up to give their, let's say, commercial data available to the engineer and to the employer, it can be much more beneficial to do it like this, to do the open book and to prove what is the actual impact that they have been, when you have disruptions of this kind. So I'm not disputing in a case of a stable market with some stable inflation, regardless of what is that inflation. Is it 3, 5, 10, 20%? If it's a stable inflation, then these statistical institutions will manage to catch up and will manage to give the accurate data, and you have much less work in proving your entitlement. But in a case of this sudden disruption, in a case of broken supply chains, then this can be a much better approach, or at least it was proven to be like this in this case in 2022. So thank you very much for